Thank you very much and good afternoon everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to talk about Sunstone Metals. So I've got a bit to go through. I'll dive straight into it. Very briefly, we are focused on gold and copper, and we're focused in Ecuador. Our market cap sitting around $80 million. We've worked hard on our capital structure, and over the last couple of years we've introduced a number of highly regarded resource funds, institutional funds onto the register, and a number of Australian and European family offices. So they speak for about 30% of the stock. Management, board and management speak for about 5% of the stock, so we're absolutely aligned with shareholders. Very briefly on Ecuador, it's pro-mining. This is a very good country to invest in. It's got two modern operating mines, one of the world's best gold mines operated by Lundin Gold, producing 500,000 ounces of gold a year, and a large gold-copper porphyry deposit that's producing concentrate that is being shipped out through one of the ports in southern Ecuador. The number of projects that are moving through studies, feasibility studies, is increasing. There's several of them, so you'll see the mining sector in Ecuador over the next 5 or 10 years expand dramatically. It's not a surprise. The rocks in Ecuador are the same rocks that contain the world's largest copper and gold deposits in Chile and Peru to the south and Colombia to the north. It's very unexplored, huge opportunity. And we've got two of those significant discoveries. Brama-Alba in the south that you can see there, and El Palmar in the north. So I'll speak about each of those in a bit of detail. What's the investment opportunity? It's very simple. Discovery adds huge value, and fortunately the team at Sunstone have been involved in a couple of discoveries previously, and they added huge value, both Intrepid and SolGold, where we made large porphyry discoveries, saw values move from about 50 million market cap through to in excess of $1 billion on the back of those world-class discoveries. So we're hoping to do that. We think we've got two of them, and the Brama-Alba project is a little more advanced. So today I'll talk about our Limon discovery at Brama-Alba, which is a very significant discovery, adding high-grade front end to what's already a large resource. And then I'll talk about El Palmar, which is a little earlier stage, but that's where we hope to join the billion-tonne porphyry club on the same belt as two other large, greater than billion-tonne deposits. So let's talk about Brama-Alba first. Just briefly, location, very well located. It's easy to fly from Quito down to a city called Loja. That's about a 50-minute flight into a commercial airport. You then hop in a car and drive for an hour and a half on the bitumen Pan-American Highway, and you're at our project site. So that Pan-American Highway runs through the concession. Very well located. There's an existing power grid with power capacity for a large porphyry development, and that power grid through Ecuador is 93% renewable. Most of that is hydro, so it ticks the green box that we're all looking for these days in power supply for big developments. We're only 900 metres above sea level. This is not the high Andes. Agriculture in the area is marginal because it's dry for 9 months of the year. And so a lot of the farmers, a lot of the communities have actually moved out and gone elsewhere. So in the valleys, they grow peanuts and corn, and in the hills, they run goats and cattle. Okay, so this slide shows gold in soil. So you can see the warm colours are where there's more gold. And the important takeaway here is that there's multiple gold opportunities within our concession, and we're chasing all of those. So to start with, Limon, that's where we're currently drilling. We've got 2 rigs active, and that's a significant discovery in its own right. We've got higher grade porphyry mineralisation, but more recently, and I'll talk about this in a bit of detail, we've drilled a high grade gold-silver opportunity, and that will act as a high grade front end to the development of the much larger porphyry opportunity. So that porphyry opportunity is known as Brama-Alba. We released this resource late last year. Large 2.7 million ounces gold equivalent, mineralisation from surface. Low grade, yes, and that's why we're looking for the high grade front end, and that's what Limon is delivering. So this will be developed with time. So that's where the resource sits across those 2 targets, and the exploration target that we did, which is in addition to the resource, 3.3 to 8.6 million ounces, and that's based on Brama-Alba outside the resource, plus Melanal, which is next door, and a tiny little bit up at Limon where we drilled a porphyry. And then the current Limon drilling, as I said, outside both the resource and the exploration target. This is what the resource area looks like. It's a topographic high, so the strip ratio is very low. You can see how dry it is there and how accessible it is there. A great area to be developing a large open pit mine in southern Ecuador. The resource was undertaken by CSA, so a tier 1 consulting group, somewhat conservative. It was pit constrained, so that 2.7 million ounces is only the material that's captured in that pit. And you can just make out from some of those drill holes, the colours, some of the higher grades, greater than 0.8 grams gold equivalent, is closer to surface, which of course would be mined earlier, and that's what you want to see. But this is Limon, this is where all the excitement is. So this is what it looks like. Fantastic goat country, that's all that survives up there. Vegetation is pretty sparse, and that's because the rocks are altered with silica and clay, and they have gold, silver and other things in them. This is what the rocks look like. They're breccias, pretty classic, what's called an intermediate sulfidation system. Plenty of these examples around the world, so the geology is understood. And this is what the chute looks like. So the middle zone there, that sausage-shaped zone, that's the chute that we're drilling at the moment. You can see there, hole 26. 185 metres at nearly 3 grams gold equivalent, and within that was 31 metres at 13 grams gold equivalent, so that's gold plus silver. And that system runs through to surface, so it's very shallow. The other pink circles are similar structural positions where we see metal anomalism. So they're the other targets that we're starting to drill over the next few weeks. So you can see we'll get a cluster of these. Surrounding all of those is a sort of 0.4, 0.5 halo, if you like. So it would all be captured within an open pit. And so far we've only drilled that to about 250 metres below surface. This is what it looks like. That's the chute, the plunging chute, and then you can see off on the left-hand side there's a green area of zinc anomalism. That's another chute developing. We're pretty optimistic that that will turn into a second chute. So huge opportunity here, and without doubt a high-grade front end to development of the larger Bramaderos system, which we've gone public and said we aim to deliver a 10 million ounce type district here for development. Now, in addition to the area where we're drilling at Limon, it sits within a 1.7 kilometre by 700 metre area of altered rock and metal anomalism. So those 7 circled in red areas are gold in soil anomalies that we think are similar to where we're drilling now. So we'll move to those later in the year. But it just gives you some idea of the opportunity of this scale, the scale of this opportunity. Huge high-grade front end, and then we move to Brama-Alba and other porphyries for the long-life 10 million ounce opportunity that we'll deliver. So let's go now to the north of Ecuador. This is the Palmar project. Again, very well located. It's about a 3-hour drive from the capital city of Quito. Most of that's on a bitumen road. Again, an existing power grid. There's a hydroelectric facility just down the valley from where we're drilling. So very good location from a logistics point of view. And we're on a very important belt for Ecuador, the Toachi Fault Zone. So far this fault zone contains the 3 billion tonne Cascabel deposit owned by SolGold, of which the Sunstone team were involved in the early days. That's 65 kilometres to the northeast. And then also the Lurimagua deposit, which is a 1 billion tonne copper moly porphyry. So we're absolutely in the right address. This is what it looks like. So on the left is arsenic in soil. So as a pathfinder for porphyries, often arsenic is sitting above or beside a porphyry system. So you can see in the southern part there, within the T3 target, highly anomalous arsenic, and that's absolutely consistent with the geophysical signatures we're seeing. So on the right is magnetics, and you can see the centre T1 target, the most magnetic system within the concession. That's where we went first. We've drilled 21 holes there. We've discovered a porphyry system, gold, copper, mineralised from surface to a depth of about 500 metres. We then moved down to T3, and we've drilled one hole, only hole, into a 1 kilometre diameter anomaly, and that's delivered ore grade mineralisation at 1,000 metres below surface. and those geophysical anomalies extend through towards surface. So this is what it looks like. T1 on the left, surface to 500 metres down, mineralised gold copper porphyry with grades ranging from 0.6 to a gram gold equivalent. We then drilled hole 26 there that you see in the middle. That was aimed at that blue concentric bullseye target. We got a bit of mineralisation there, but we kept going. And at the lower parts of that hole, we drilled 190 metres at 0.58 gold equivalent in a classic porphyry system. So that's, again, another mineralised porphyry system, and you can see those magnetic anomalies extending up towards surface. So when we get back here to drill in September or October, we'll be chasing those shallower positions with those follow-up holes. But just to give you some concept of scale, this is the Alpala deposit at Cascabel, so 65 kilometres away. Same geological age, same host rocks, same geology, very similar system, at the same scale and at the same vertical extent. So the main part of this deposit sits at about 1,000 metres below surface. So that's where we're seeing our drill intersection in hole 26. This is a plan. So this is a slice through the crust at about 1 kilometre below surface, and you can see there that our T3 system, about 1 kilometre, has every opportunity to host a large deposit. And again, at the same scale, this is the 3 billion tonne Cascabel deposit. So we're pretty confident that we've got a very large porphyry here. We need a few more holes to be talking tonnages, but it certainly has the capability for us to join that billion tonne club, which is what we want to do in this very prospective belt of northern Ecuador. Obviously at those depths and at this scale we need some grade, so you can see some drill core on the right there, classic porphyry mineralisation, and delivering grades up to 1.3 grams of gold and 0.35 copper. That's pretty high grade for a porphyry, and that's the only hole into this kilometre diameter anomaly. So again, we're optimistic that further drilling will deliver a significant discovery. We get asked about the depth, obviously. Look, we're not too concerned about that. This is a slide I borrowed from Newcrest. This is from a 2018 presentation. And this talks about their exploration search space and their mining search space. So they're looking at porphyry opportunities, and you can see this in their portfolio with Red Chris and Cadia opportunities and things. They're looking at opportunities that are potentially as deep as 1 kilometre or 2 kilometres below surface. But with the appropriate grade and tonnage, these are very, very significant prizes to be had. So this is exactly the scale that we're looking at with El Palmar in northern Ecuador. So what's ahead of us? All the action over the next couple of months will be Limon. We've got 2 drilling rigs operating there. We've got the next set of assays out in mid-August. This is going to be a high-grade front end in its own right for development of the large Brama-Alba system. So we'll deliver additional discoveries and grow that exploration target. At El Palmar, we've got some assay results coming back from hole 28, and then we'll be back there drilling in September, October to follow up on some of these targets. So huge opportunity ahead, huge opportunity over the next few months. So thank you very much for your time, and happy to talk further later. Thank you.